This is a demonstration of eyeReport number 360. This eyeReport is used for all tasks related to your appointment schedule and another one of the eyeReports that will increase your practice revenues. The report can be used for 5 basic functions. The second tab can replace the OfficeMate appointment schedule listing. And replace the OfficeMate cancel and no-show report. It can also be used to analyze your appointments scheduled. For example, what percentage of your appointments canceled? What percent of your appointments were no-shows? How many confirmed canceled? What percent of your pre-appointments canceled or were no-shows? How many of your insurance company patients canceled? Plus many more. The third tab can be used to be sure all fee slips are being recorded for scheduled patients. There is a concern that all charges are not being recorded when passed through from OfficeMate to the lab order to the fee slip. Daily, you can compare the scheduled patients to the fee slips recorded and make sure you're not losing revenues. If a fee slip number is missing, you can research it during the day or the next day after the transaction should have occurred. Fourth tab can be used to be sure your patient demographic meaningful use fields are populated daily. Also available in this tab are the scheduled patient's phone numbers, email addresses, and the notation that texting is okay. This gives staff an easy way to have scheduled patients' contact information should they need to contact them without having to go into each individual patient's demographic fields in OfficeMate. The fifth tab is a tool to help your insurance manager easily know which scheduled patients need an authorization number or when eligibility is required. Now for the report basics. To know who's scheduled during the day, in the upper left filter, select the appointment date you want to look at. Listed are the appointment date and times, the patient name, the reason they're coming in, the notes on the patient's schedule, any duration, whether they're pre-appointed, their last exam date, and then other insurance and appointment-related information. If you want to analyze your appointment book, clear the filter, period. Select the period you want to analyze. For example, we'll analyze January 2013. Now, using the filters available to you in each column, you can get the counts and presents. For example, let's choose pre-appointment equals yes. The ending line number is line number 138. Up here in this area where we have a small calculation area, you can enter 138. Now let's select appointment show equals yes. And again, we'll select the ending line number, which is 52. The calculation is that 37% of your pre-appointments showed. Not a very good percentage, but at least you know how your pre-appointments are working in relation to the total patients scheduled. Now let's be sure you're not losing revenues by missing fee slips. Click the third tab, labeled Compare Schedule to Fee Slip Build. You should be creating a fee slip for every transaction, even no-charge transactions, because when you analyze your reports and see all the no-charge transactions you had, you might see another reason why you're asking yourself, why am I working harder and making less? If you're going for Medicare and Medicaid incentives, you need to count every encounter. If you're not recording a fee slip for every transaction, use the appointment reason filter and unselect the type of appointments that will not have a fee slip recorded. For example, contact lens check. Now select an appointment date. Now look at the patient names and be sure that a fee slip is with every name. But here we go to January 9th and we find that Mary Winshilt didn't have a fee slip recorded. So now you can research why. Now let's look at the meaningful use field and the patient contact information audit. Click the Meaningful Use tab, select an appointment date, select the reasons patients should have meaningful use fields filled in, and now you can be sure by auditing each field is completed. If they're blank, you can go back timely and find out why they weren't completed or complete them. If you're using this for patient demographic information, here's the nickname, chart number, day phone, email address, texting okay, whether they're cash, head of household, all the demographic information you want to know, which will make it easy for the staff to not have to go into the OfficeMate demographic fields for each individual patient. This report should be used daily if you're going for meaningful use, or even weekly, just to be sure all these fields are getting completed. OfficeMate will give you the percents of completion, but will not tell you who. If you want to get your insurance manager a tool to make it easier to get authorization number, click the Insurance Pre-Authorization worksheet. Select Canceled Appointment equals No. Insurance authorization equals yes. And the period or the appointment date that you want to look for. Now you can see that these patients need authorization numbers. Here's the insurance company. Here's the insurance phone number. And here's the detail of the patient's insurance information. If you want to select it not by day, but by a month, you can choose an appointment month to see who needs authorization. A better way might be, though, to choose all and then use the appointment created date. Since patients make appointments every day, you might check a date filter between a week, get those patient authorization numbers, then a week later, choose the next week and get all the patients who scheduled appointments during that week. This way, you can stay on top of the authorization numbers. If you want to find out which patients insurance requires eligibility, change authorization required to all, change eligibility required to yes, and then you'll have a listing of all patients whose insurance requires eligibility. You can also filter by location, by whether the insurance is inactive, or any other filters on the columns across. After using this eyeReport, save it or save it as with the name, and the data is saved in the report as well as the filters you've selected, so they don't have to be reselected again. The next time you open the eyeReport, click the Refresh Data button, select the dates, and process as described. If you have any questions about this or any other eyeReport, don't hesitate to contact eyeReport support.